Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah. Well, hello, dummies, and welcome to episode number 151 of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name, as you all know, is Tim, the Croatian sensation Van Stratton. Too much light behind me. I'm joined by Rodney Newpol, who is in his office. He's got his Con Knipple jersey behind him. It still infuriates me that Con refuses to acknowledge that his last name should be Newpol, just like yours. I don't know why he has to be different, but anyway, Rodney, how are you?
Good, man. Con's brothers continue to dominate the high school circuit. The recruiting. Cager Knipple is likely going to go to Duke. So we've got another player in the pipeline. They can all ball. Ball. But I'm doing well, and thanks for asking. How's things in Hawaii today?
As they say, another day in paradise. I went to a library, my first library here. I love the Morton Library. I missed that. So this was my first taste of a library near me. Had to go print things because, believe it or not, a printer was not on the list of items that we felt necessary to bring with us to Hawaii. Seemed like it took up a lot of room. So we're just like, we'll drive down the road a little bit, find a printer. So those are the adventures that I'm going on. I know it sounds exciting. Hold your applause. That's what I was up to.
I mean, yeah, it's always interesting to visit a new library, your first visit to the library. Tell us about the said library. How was the library today?
So it's interesting. The library is actually in an elementary school. So it's the elementary school library, but it's also the public library. So it was a strange mix of just like, oh, this is clearly for children, but also like adults come here as well. There was a security guard in front that you had to sort of sign in because it's, again, like you're entering a school. So you have to like sign in, you get a little visitor sticker, you walk, there's all these signs. It was very complicated to get to the library. Then finally you get there and there was like it's a very small library, but there's still like 3 or 4 people working there. So like they're very well employed. But yeah, had a list of computers, was able to get a guest pass, printed out my necessary documents. And then I left. And I said, you know what? I'll be back because I do want to become a official member here. I want to get a library card. I like libraries. I used to go work there all the time back in my Illinois days, like the little study room.
Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. That's our local library. Well, my local library now, since you up and left. But yes, our local library is a nice little small but well kept library. So my You're speaking my wife's language with visiting libraries. She loves that.
Are you a book reader? You don't. Maybe this is an insult, but you've never struck me as someone who likes to read books.
Is
that offensive?
I went through a phase of reading books years ago. Maybe, and this is an excuse, but maybe when I had a little more time, kids were either not born or younger, not on the move all the time. Yeah. I did, and I have. Well, if you look, I got lots of books.
Yeah, that's a good collection.
Yeah, and that's not even all of them. But yes, so and as you could probably guess, sports books. But yeah, no, I haven't been much of a reader lately. I've slacked.
Yeah, I can only read non-fiction sports books.
Yeah.
It's like the only books that I can like actually pay attention to, because when I read anything else, like my mind just wanders and thinks about things. But like the only thing that really engages me or interests me are non-fiction sports books specifically. Like it's the only thing I can get away with. And I'm like you, where it's like I go through phases. Most of my reading honestly comes when I'm on vacation and I have the time to just like, and I'm just sitting out somewhere and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to read. Like that is 90+% of all the things that I read in a year would be when I'm on vacation. Other than that, like I like it's like, oh, I'm done with work, I'm gonna read a book. can't do it because there's like games on, and I'm just gonna be thinking like I gotta watch the games. I'm like checking scores. It's like I can't fully disassociate from the world in order to read.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's been a while, but I would say I don't mind it. Just haven't been doing it nearly as much.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that concludes our show for tonight. Thanks everyone. All right. Well, let's get to it. And the people that are watching us don't want to hear about books. If they love books so much, they would be reading themselves instead of watching us. Of course, we continue our countdown. 92 days until the NFL. We're well within 100 days. The news keeps coming out. You see guys that are requesting trades. You see contracts that are getting restructured. I love a good restructure. I feel like everyone should just like the NFL salary cap is such a scam because it's just like anyone can restructure at any given time. And it's just like, oh, look at that. We're the Bengals. We've just created 15 million of cap space because we restructured Joe Burrow's contract. Like it's the easiest thing to get around ever. Like I'm always like surprised and then not really when there's a team that's like, oh, they're going into the offseason 80 million over the cap. And it's like, oh, it's totally fine because they can just restructure and cut anyone they want. And it's like it's super easy.
Yeah. It's hard to keep track of that in the NFL for me. Like it seems like the deals are changing all the time. And like you said, the cap space is changing. So it's one of those things I'm glad you're keeping up with. And you can just update me every once in a while. That's kind of how the offseason NFL news goes for me. The 1 year I was like, let's just sit down and have a meeting like August 1st. And we can go over all the stuff that I need to know before the start of the season. We're going to do that again. We're going to have a little Zoom call August 1st. And you can keep me up on the draft, free agency. We can even go back to coaching news. Yeah. We can talk trades. And then if we have a little extra time, we can talk a good restructure.
Yeah, I've been playing that. I was telling you last week about that 82-0 game, which I don't know if you've gotten into that yet.
I did not get into it.
I was doing an NFL version called 20-0, and that has really helped beef up my knowledge of like current rosters and players. At least like for there's still some blind spots for sure, but like be like, oh God, I have to pick a Titans wide receiver here. It's like, okay, good. Now I know who they are. Like, because I see the names in front of me. So that's been helping, and maybe that's the strategy here. All right, real quick, do you want to give a shout out to our friends at Gateway Sports before we move on?
Yeah, Gateway Sports continues to be great partners of ours, and if you are not familiar with Gateway Sports, place that if you love sports, there's nowhere you'd rather be than Gateway Sports. They cover it all from the preps to college and the pros. Real coverage, real voices, real passion for the game, from live shows to podcasts. Gateway Sports connects the region like nobody else. Proudly powered by First, Form, and Recalibrate. Visit gatewaysports.net. Every level, one Gateway. Thanks to Gateway Sports, and they're doing a great job, and hope that continues forever. Thank you for their partnership, Gateway Sports. There you go.
All right, thank you, Gateway. Thank you for the artwork, and thank you, Rodney, for your great read. And now, let's talk a little NBA Finals, shall we? In a night that I heard multiple people say is the biggest night ever for New York City sports.
Yeah.
I saw some people even like this could be the highest rated NBA game ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead, the San Antonio Spurs come in. They got out to a great start. The Knicks did what they do. They had a halftime lead. Charles Barkley put his house on the series being over at halftime, even though they were like, it's only a 7-point game, Charles. The Spurs dominate them in the second half.
He was not focused on the game. He was focused on Cardi B.
Cardi D's, yeah. The only one person in sports media, and really all media, can get away with saying stuff like that is Charles Barkley. Like he's carved a lane. But then the Spurs have a great second half, and like despite the Knicks winning 13 in a row and all of the comebacks they've shown, there's about 7 minutes left in that game. It's probably a 5 or 7 point game. I'm looking at my wife. We're watching it. I'm like, I don't think the Knicks are coming back in this one. Like, it just felt like the Spurs were consistently able to find an answer whenever the Knicks grabbed any sort of momentum. Like Wembanyama played better. Stephon Castle had a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And like once the Knicks, and it's what we talked about before the season started too, or before the series started, where like the Knicks have been amazing 3-point shooters, but all it takes is a cold shooting night from either team, and then like the series changes, and the Knicks missed every single three up until the last minute of the fourth quarter. Like they just couldn't hit anything, and the Spurs were able to get it done. So it's 2-1 now, and honestly, I still think the Knicks win this series, but I'm looking at Game 4 and saying I'm not riding the Spurs out for another road win here.
No, I'm not either. They played well enough last night, and I think they'll play well enough tomorrow night it would not surprise me if they go back to San Antonio at 2-2. And obviously, the obvious statement is they had to have that one. They got it. They had to have it. It was a weird vibe, though. It was the biggest game in New York history, but it was just a weird vibe at MSG last night. And basically everybody that, is on camera talking about it said the vibe was a little bit weird. And, I'm not going to get political reasons why, but it was just odd. And hopefully for New York, they can, kind of settle into the finals, have a little bit better vibe and get it going, because you'd hate to have these two big games and then lose both of them at home. You start to see this series slip away. Now they obviously would get a game 6, but not a great look for the Knicks last night, losing that one.
No, what was the line going into yesterday? Do you remember? Were the Knicks was it a 1.5 favorite?
1.5 favorite, yes, and that's what they are tomorrow as well.
Well, I'm seeing 2.5 now, so it might have gone up a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't see the stuff about the vibe being weird. I mean, it was the most expensive NBA game ever, and that probably affects the fans that are there, like the type of fans that are at the game, as opposed to like a normal Knicks game in March, like that when you saw them a few years ago. Like I'm sure it's a very different, but like blocking off the arena for several blocks, and you basically have ultra tight security just to get into the premises. Like I'm sure it was a little different. I thought like on TV, like the arena seemed super into it. Like I thought it was a good atmosphere. But the Spurs, I think, had the perfect mindset where it's like these people put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to come here to watch their beloved Knicks go up 3-0. What better way to play this than to make them miserable and to send them home with an L? And like that's what the Spurs did, and they deserve a ton of credit for it.
Yeah, no, they did everything they needed to do to win that game, and you're right. Like you kept wondering if they were going to make that run. The first half leading at halftime, but even up 7. And I thought that call that Wemby hit the 3 and got fouled, but then they reversed it. I was like, oh boy, is this the start of something? And they could just never get anything going after that. I think they missed a few shots and just couldn't quite claw back into it. But I thought that could be a huge call.
Know what I had a problem with, speaking of fouls? I don't know if you saw Mike Brown after the game. He was doing a press conference, and he was I wouldn't say he was railing against the officials, but it was more of a strong complaint, if you will, where he was upset because the Spurs had 24 free throw attempts in the second half and the Knicks only had 8. And was basically making it out like, well, if you do that over a full game, then that's 48 free throws. And it's like, conveniently, first of all, it's super soft. Like, this is your first loss since April 23rd.
Right.
And you've won 13 in a row. Like, it's super soft where the first thing you do at that point is to complain against officiating. But on top of that, he conveniently omitted the part where the Knicks had – they easily won the free throw advantage in the first half.
Right.
So like it's not like it was a super lopsided game. Like the Knicks had 16 free throws in the first half. The Spurs had 8. So the Knicks had double the attempts in the first half. And then second half comes around, and I thought that there were some questionable calls here and there, but for the most part, like I wasn't watching that game thinking like, oh my God, these foul calls are so egregious. I thought it was super soft of Mike Brown, and it's not the right mentality to have after losing a game at home with all those expectations on you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. you save the officials rant for after a couple of do or die situation, or you've lost a couple in a row. But you're right, they've won 13 in a row. Like, wasn't the best time to be complaining about officials, and they've gotten plenty of calls over the last 2 months where they keep winning. So I thought it was pretty soft too, and just odd timing. I know he was frustrated about losing that one, but I think you maybe wait until you lose maybe a second one before you start complaining too much. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe you don't complain.
Attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you just don't complain. I saw a great stat today. So Jalen Brunson is having one of the strangest series that I've ever seen from a superstar. So Jalen Brunson yesterday is 32 points.
Yeah.
11 to 25 shooting, which that's kind of been the theme here. He had 5 turnovers, 5 fouls. So this series, Jalen Brunson, he scored 30 points, 20 points, 32 points. Okay?
Yep.
He has had as many turnovers as assists. He has 13 assists and 13 turnovers through 3 games. And if you look at the plus minus, the Knicks have outplayed the Spurs significantly in terms of just overall plus minus when Brunson is off the court as opposed to when he's on the court. So
that's odd.
But it's one thing if it's like, oh, okay, we're getting beaten bad when Jose Alvarado's on the court. Okay, then we just don't play Jose Alvarado. But like Jalen Brunson is your team. He's your number one guy. He's still the guy that you're going to rely on in these close games more than anyone.
Right.
Do you think that's maybe part of the reason? Because I thought game 3 we saw a lot more Alvarado. We saw a lot more Clarkson than we had previously seen in this in the first 2 games here. And I'm wondering if that's part of the reason, because Brunson is just turning the ball over and he's missing a lot of shots. But it's interesting, like when I heard those numbers today.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, I think it's part of the reason, but I would think, and this isn't, again, kind of a no-brainer here, but like that's not going to be able to continue. If the Knicks want to win 2 more, he's going to have to be better, I think. They caught kind of lightning in a bottle when those first 2, hit him not playing fantastic, but I'm not sure that's going to last. So they need an epic Jalen Brunson game 4, and you can make all of this go away if you can just find a way to win game 4, because then basically you have to lose 3 in a row to lose the series, and I don't think that's happening. So I think you're right on Brunson, and it's been strange because he hasn't been dominant, but he's certainly scoring.
Yeah, he's put 32 points in a finals game. Like, I don't think anyone is ever going to be like, oh wow, it's terrible, but like, missed a lot of shots, turned the ball over a lot, and he got himself in foul trouble. And that's another reason that we saw more of like Alvarado off the bench yesterday. But I was also going to throw out there, like, and maybe you noticed it too, but was Karl Anthony Towns did they have a better game plan to defend him? Because he was incredible. He was the finals MVP through the first 2 games. Right. And yesterday, he's limited to just 11 points in 38 minutes. He was 4 of 10 from the field. He seemed very out of the game. And it really was just like Brunson and Anunoby doing everything. And I was like, where's Towns? Why aren't they going to Towns? Because that was the Knicks' clearest advantage through those 2 games. Because just everything that we had sort of previewed, like Cat and his ability to shoot forces the Spurs to change their entire defensive game plan. With like normally how Wemby matches up against centers. Changes everything. And we saw that in effect in 2 games. And then game 3, I don't know what happened.
And isn't that odd to you? Because we've seen situations like this before where like you watch a guy and you're like, I'm not sure he's even interested in being here tonight. You're on an NBA Finals game 3, and I was like, Cat, not really, just kind of that. He just kind of exists out there. Like he took 10 shots. Right? Like, it's weird how that happens. And I don't, again, you might be right with a defensive scheme, but I think it was more about they just need to get him the ball and get him involved and say, listen, man, we need you. Because so I went with Brunson, obviously being the obvious, but Cat has the obvious here. They need them both. I don't think you win any more games in the series if both those guys don't play better than they did last night.
Yeah, like they've shown that they can win when one of them is great.
Yes.
I don't think they necessarily need to have like both, but if you're going to have inefficient nights from both of them,
Yeah.
and OG Anunoby is your best player, suddenly you don't seem as good.
Right.
And I'm just gonna throw this out there, like how, and I really sort of focusing on the Knicks here more than the Spurs. I thought the Spurs played really well, but like how inconsistent is Miles or Mikal Bridges? Just like Mikal Bridges had an amazing game 2. Like it was game 2 where I was texting people. I was like, this is the guy that's worth 5 first-round picks. He was awesome. And then he was one of the worst players I've ever seen play basketball in game 3. Like 29 minutes, he made 1 shot. He had 4 fouls. His misses were awful. Like he was really bad. Really bad. And like you can't give a guy 30 minutes out there and gets you 2 points in a finals game. And a game that you lost by 4. Like it's unacceptable.
I'm with you. Yeah, I don't understand why he has to be so inconsistent. But yeah, we hit all those on the head, and then it's like, okay, you had your 3 best players pretty much playing poorly, and here you are with a chance to go up 3-1. So then, both teams probably walked away last night. Obviously, the Knicks were a little bit more disappointed, but both teams were like, okay, we fixed this and this, but both teams started to feel good because the Knicks still have the lead, and the Spurs feel like, well, we're right back in this, and all we got to do is win one more in the Garden, and it's an even series. So, been a fun series, though.
Yeah, been a great series, and like, yeah, I mean, you think about it. Game 1, the Spurs had the lead going into the last 2 minutes of the game. Game 2 was decided by a point, and the Spurs had a chance to win it with Wemby's shot. And then game 3 yesterday, another game that came down to the final couple minutes and decided by 4 points. Like the Spurs, like there's a universe where the Spurs are up 3-0 in this series. Yeah. Just like there's a universe that the Knicks are up 3-0. Like it's been that close. And like it's been one of the better NBA finals in recent memory. And transitioning here a little bit to hockey. This is probably one of the best Stanley Cup finals in recent memory, just based on the type of games that these are. So Carolina and Vegas right now, they're playing game 4 in Vegas. It is 3-3. Once again, another close game, another high-scoring game. Carolina was up 3-1 after the first period, but of course, in classic Golden Knights fashion, Vegas evened it up in the second. And so that series now, we had game 1. That was 5-4. Yeah. We had game 2. That was 4-3 in overtime. We had game 3. That was 5-4 in double overtime, sort of highlighted by a 4-goal comeback in the third period by the Carolina Hurricanes, with 3 of those goals coming in the span of 39 seconds. And now we have another 3-3 game here in the third. What's your biggest takeaway from this series so far? And I'll tell you mine afterwards.
Well, over bettors are happy. If you're betting the over, you're happy. That's a takeaway from this series. Takeaway is that, I mean, obviously neither goaltender has been real good. So you think after tonight, the key is which goaltender is going to be better in the final 3 games. Because right now, neither one of them are saving very many shots. Like, it was 3-3 in this one, but it was 3-3 kind of, pretty late in the second period, but we still have a whole nother period to play. We're looking at 7, 8, 9 goals tonight. It's probably going to be 7 is probably what it's actually going to be, but I don't know. I feel like the offenses certainly have been ahead, and the last 3 games, best goalie wins.
Yeah. What's been wild to me, it's definitely along those lines, is going into this series, I was looking saying, these are 2 really good defensive teams. Like Carolina was shutting down all their opponents throughout the playoffs. They lost one game in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Like they were totally shutting down opponents. Vegas was playing a super strong defensive game with like their last few series, and like evident in the sweep against Colorado. So naturally I'm like, okay, Vegas, Carolina, it's going to be one of those series where you just see really dominant defense and low-scoring games. This is physical. It's the Cup. And instead, we're seeing a recreation of like that Ducks-Oilers series where it was like every game was 7+ goals. And it's like, what is happening? So, the style has been totally different than what I expected. Yeah. Like, it's not the bruising defensive battle. Like, these are – every single game is teams scoring 4 goals, 5 goals. Like that's not common. It's not common for a Stanley Cup final. And we're looking at it again tonight. So yeah, I'm stunned by that. Credit to both these teams for being able to play those types of hockey games, because a lot of times like the Edmonton Oilers can't play a defensive game.
No.
They have a style of hockey that they do, and that's it. And most teams are like that. Like they can't suddenly turn it on and play a different style. Both these teams can. It's part of the reason that they're in the Cup. But I just didn't expect it to every single game and just consistently.
I will say though, if you're Vegas and you don't win tonight, you got to be a little nervous still, right? Like you've kind of controlled a good portion of this series. You know, I'm not saying you've dominated or been totally the better team, but you've controlled a pretty good chunk of the series. Now you're basically you're tied, and Carolina back to like having home ice advantage. And I'm not sure how much that matters necessarily, but like, again, I feel like I'm stating obvious here, but Vegas needs to win tonight. Like they need this to be 3-1. They don't want to go to Carolina at 2-2.
Well, I mean, shoot, I feel like still though the pressure's on Carolina to win.
Yeah,
like
because of the favorites.
You lost. Yeah. You lost a game at home. The second game you went to overtime, and you got a lot of things that sort of bounced your way in that game with a challenge that was unsuccessful on a Vegas goal, and then you score on a power play. Like it took a lot for Carolina to even have a 1-1 series going into game 3. Yeah, and game 3 you got down by 4 goals and had a historic comeback that's never happened before in all of hockey. Yeah. So the pressure's on. And as I'm saying that, literally just a second ago, Jordan Staal scores for the Carolina Hurricanes. So 12:51 left in the third. Carolina now back up by 1. I doubt it holds because that's been the series. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. Like, yeah, if I'm Vegas, you had an opportunity to potentially clinch the Cup tonight just based on how the series has gone and how it's all played out. This is it, man. Like this is the Cup. This is pressure for both teams. And there's a lot on the line here for both. And hopefully we get a winner before we're off the air.
Yeah, I mean, 14 minutes of the game. If it doesn't go overtime, we should, with 30 minutes or so left of the show. So, if it doesn't go overtime, he says. If it doesn't go overtime, come on, we know it's going overtime. It's going overtime, yeah. And so then Game 5, they're going Game 5 on Thursday. So Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday.
So how come they're doing no extra day for the travel back to Carolina, but then they're doing an extra off day for the game in Vegas on Game 6?
My guess is Morgan Wallen's hosting Vegas Saturday night or somebody.
Yeah.
Right? I guess
Saturday there's NBA Finals game on Saturday.
Yeah, but but like T-Mobile Arena may not be available.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, but because I would think if you did an extra off day because they have to travel, you would play Friday. You wouldn't have to compete against the NBA. And then you would do like Monday and Thursday, which doesn't conflict at all with NBA. So I don't know. I don't know. Just my observations. All right, real quick. What's been the more entertaining series between these two? Like, I think we are very, very fortunate to have 2 great classic series where every single game is close. There's just you don't know what's going to happen at any given moment. Which one have you been personally more entertained by?
I mean, probably the NBA. I follow the NBA more than the NHL. I love the NHL. Stanley Cup Finals are great and have been great series, but I've personally been more entertained by the NBA. I'm curious to see if the Knicks can actually get this done, or is Wemby going to be? Is he going to chalk up the first of many, or is he going to get many? I think, and I was riveted with the return in New York. We'll see what tomorrow looks like, and if they can come back for a Game 6. We saw Game 3 wild. if the Knicks are up 3-2 going to the Garden in Game 6, like that's going to be another epic scene. But that should be, what night would that be? So
if it's NBA, yeah. So we have
Wednesday.
Game 5 would be Saturday, and then Game 6 would be Tuesday. So it would be while we're doing our show.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't get any of the weekend games. Garden does not. They get a Monday, a Wednesday, and then a Tuesday the next week. A weekend game would make it even more interesting. Just the bedlam that it'll be. But I've been more entertained by the NBA. What's your answer?
Well, it's a little bit personal for me because I'm very salty still about the Golden Knights being in the Cup. So I've sort of been like begrudging with it. So I'll say the NBA, and like it's not just because of that. Like I think that this series, the Spurs-Knicks series, and I said like how excited I was even before it started. It has lived up and then some, just with the quality of games, how good both of these teams are. Like I can't get over that the Spurs are as young as they are. I mean, you've heard it mentioned on the broadcast, the youngest finals team since the 77 Blazers.
Yeah.
So this is a historically young Spurs team that just plays so beyond their years, their composure, the fact that they can play a veteran Knicks team this tight game after game, that they can make these adjustments, that they could go into the Garden yesterday and pull off a win. Like it's super impressive, and it's scary thinking about how they're going to grow. Like Stephon Castle's in this his second year, third year?
Second, I believe. Yeah.
Second year. Okay, so Castle's second year. So Wemby's third year. This is Harper's first year.
Right.
It's scary to think of what the Spurs could be once those guys are 25, 26, 27 years old. Like, they're going to be really, really good. And I've just been super impressed by them. And the Knicks just – there's so many people who like, oh, I never root for New York sports, but I'm kind of pulling for the Knicks. They just have that quality where they're easy to root for because of the team that they assembled.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said there. I don't have a dislike for either of these teams. I just don't. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to watch that. I don't like it, but I just don't yet. Maybe that's because it's somewhat new blood, but I enjoy both teams.
All right, Rodney, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know we're out of our depth, but any thoughts on the stupidest World Cup preview on earth?
But by the way, next week is the U.S. Open.
Yes.
So we'll have next Tuesday. We'll have to have a nice stupid preview for that.
The U.S. Open in I think it's Shinnecock Hills.
Yeah. Yes. That's
that
correct.
is the fun fact. So it was 2018, the U.S. Open. It was the grossest major that anyone has ever seen, where Brooks Koepka won with a score of 1 over par. That was the first tournament that I truly watched, and that, for whatever reason, was the tournament that ignited my obsession with golf. Okay. Ever since then. So this is sort of like bringing it full circle. It's funny that it was that one, though, because it was like the grossest major ever, where like everyone was terrible, and it was like these conditions are heinous. But something about it was so captivating, and here we are. But yeah, I'm excited to talk that next week. But
World Cup preview. So I mean. Yeah. Not being a major soccer fan, I didn't realize the U.S. really have no chance.
Well, I think the U.S., it depends on what your expectations are. If it's to win the World Cup, you're correct. They have no chance. They're given the same odds as several teams, Belgium, Colombia, Japan, Mexico, Morocco, and Norway. They all have the same odds as the U.S. I think the U.S. is probably behind all of them.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think they're just a little bit of bias there. But I think it would be a successful tournament for the U.S. if they make it to the group stage. I think, or the knockout stage, I should say. The group that they're in is not a super, super tough one. There's Turkey, there's Paraguay, and there's Australia. Australia isn't very good. Paraguay is one of those like pesky countries. And then I think Turkey should be, I don't know if they are, but I think Turkey probably should be the favorite in that group. So all the United States have to do is just finish in the top 2 of the group stage to advance to the knockout round. if you do that, then I think that you consider it a success there. And I went ahead and I filled out a little bracket to do my predictions. I have the U.S. finishing second in Group D. It would put them in a matchup against Panama in the knockout stage.
Okay.
And then I believe if they won that, they would face likely Argentina in the round of 32 or the round of 16, which at that point it would be over. Argentina, Lionel Messi, the defending champs.
They're cooked. Yeah.
They're cooked. Yeah. So the U.S. to reach the last 16 is at plus 108 on DraftKings. So it's about a 50-50 thing. Like I said, it's a pretty favorable draw for the United States compared to what some other countries have to deal with their groups and where the bracket lines up. So that's the hope. But yeah, as far as like, oh, can they win? Can they go all the way? No. And World Cup, I've noticed like it's similar to March Madness in the sense that you can have Cinderella teams. Like you can have a team like Morocco make it to the Final Four. You can have like the upsets, but at the end of the day, the champion is always going to be the chalk. And like right now, the favorites are France, Spain, England, Portugal, Argentina, Brazil. Like one of those 6 teams will win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to overthink it and try to get cute by saying, hey, I think Norway really has a shot. Like it's going to be chalk. The question is though, which chalk? And I think it depends on how the bracket lines up. Like, because there's elements like the guys that got to go to Mexico have to play in the really high altitude. Yeah. Like there's a situation. There's a potential, Rodney, where there's a round of 16 matchup where it's Mexico against England in Mexico City.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, England is ultra talented. They are the second or third best team in the tournament according to odds. But that's a really tough draw to have to beat Mexico in Mexico City. Not only are you dealing with like the fans, but you're also dealing with the major elevation change. Like that all matters. And then you think about other teams that play in colder environments that suddenly got to play a round of 8 game in Miami, in late afternoon in Miami in July. Like these are all sort of like the factors that, depending on where your games are and who you're playing, like it's all gonna create the final outcome. But are you betting it at all? Are you planning to like watch the games and bet on them?
I mean, I don't know. I see Spain on DraftKings at 450, France 475. I would probably just go ahead and say Spain's going to win this thing. Mm-hmm. Spain's obviously got all sorts of great soccer players. Betting on the matches, I'll probably throw each, something on each game. But like, how many of them are actually going to be like close odds? Because aren't we going to get a lot of like pretty lopsided odds? So I don't know. Maybe I'll look at some of the matches now.
Oh, like for the group stage?
Yeah, just some of the beginning games.
Sure. Yeah, but you'll see, like it'll be split up, honestly. Like half of the games I think will be the lopsided odds, but then the other half are going to be the really close ones that are going to really impact how the rest of the bracket is created. Because so in case you didn't know, so it's there's 12 groups. So the top 2 from each group advance. So that's 24. Yeah. And then they take 8 of the 12 third place teams, like the best remaining, which if they have the same amount of points or records, then it's goal differential. So like little betting advice here. Like if you're thinking about teams to advance to the knockout stage, look at the groups where there's a very obvious, like horrible team that is going to just get blasted, that a third place team, even if they lose to the other 2, like they're going to crush a team. They're going to have maybe a high goal differential, and that's going to help them advance to the next round. Like Curacao is in there. They're in a group E with Ecuador, Germany, and Ivory Coast. Yeah. Like I think those 3 teams are going to get in just because they're going to all pound on Curacao and have the goal differential to be able to advance.
Jordan's another one, right? They're probably not real good.
Yeah, Jordan's pretty bad. I would say like Jordan's bad, Curaçao's bad, Qatar, Cabo Verde I don't even know what Cabo Verde is. They're in a group that with Spain, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia. So like Saudi Arabia is probably gonna get a benefit there, and a chance to advance just because of their group. So yeah, I think you're right on the money there with finding those really bad teams.
But I'm looking at Thursday. Mexico is minus 245 against South Africa. South Africa is 7 plus 750. Like I can't take South Africa to beat Mexico. So
where is that game, by the way? I should probably look up to see. Like I was looking earlier to see like where all the games are. So that one's Thursday at, I think they're probably in Mexico. No,
maybe So
in Mexico City.
It appears we're going to get I am going to get an afternoon game and then a night game each day. So Thursday, 2:00, Thursday, 9:00, Friday, 2:00, Friday, 8:00. Saturday, it looks like you're getting 3 games, 5, 8, and 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Where are they playing that
11 p.m. for you. On what day is that? Saturday?
Saturday. So probably in LA.
That's Australia against Turkey. That's 6 p.m. Hawaii. They're playing it in Vancouver. So West Pacific time.
Yeah. But then you got the Sunday, you got noon, 3, 6, and 9. So Sunday's a big day. 4 games. Just trying to. So U.S. plays what? Friday at.
Yeah. So U.S. is going to play Friday against
8.
Paraguay at 8 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. my time in L.A.
Yeah. Is that? It's a stupid question, but. U.S. is not playing all their games in L.A., right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
No. So I can tell you. So they play, Friday in L.A. Their next game against Australia is the following Friday, where they play in Seattle. So I'm assuming at the Quest, and then because they want to put them in prime time.
Yeah.
They want to, and then their final game would be. June 25th, which is that a Thursday?
16th, 23rd. It's a Thursday. We'll have it right here.
Another 9 p.m. Central in LA again against Turkey.
It'll be on as we're doing the show.
Yeah, who I picked Turkey to win the group, but I have USA finishing second. It's a pretty easy draw for them this year.
So the US does not have to do a ton of traveling.
No. LA, Seattle, LA. They don't even have to change time zones.
Yeah. They stay in the NFC West the entire time.
That's right.
I mean, this is the stupidest World Cup preview on earth. I don't know. I stay in my lane with soccer. I will watch. When Thursday at 2:00 comes around. I'm assuming this is, it's probably Peacock, right? NBC and Peacock.
Okay, isn't the World Cup normally Fox?
Oh, yeah. No, I do think you're right there. Now that you say that, I do think you're right.
Let me see. Yeah, I'm just going to confirm. Yeah, Fox and FS1. Yeah, okay. I was like, World Cup's normally a Fox thing.
I don't. I just assume everything's on NBC anymore. I don't know.
Are they going to force like Kevin Burkhardt or Joe Davis to do calls because they don't have like soccer guys?
Right. By the way, 4-3 Hurricanes, 3.5 to go on ice there in Vegas. So some sweaty moments here for Vegas. 3:32 to go. We'll see if Carolina can hold on, or if Vegas has more magic in them. But
come on, kids.
No, back to soccer.
By the way, we didn't notice though that Carolina actually did make a goaltending change today. Frederick Anderson did not start, and Brandon Bussey, 27 years old, was the starting goaltender today. Played 39 games for them in the regular season. So that's been sort of a part of their. But typically in the playoffs, like teams stick with one goalie and sort of ride them, and it's been Freddie. There's been no reason for them to go away from him. But that's a potentially huge moment here, where if Carolina wins this game with Brandon Bussey in net, it hasn't been particularly good. 3 goals allowed on 19 shots. Like it's not great. But if you win, I don't think you can put Freddie back in there for Game 5, right?
I don't think so. No. No, I don't. You think you're right. Goaltending drama going on in Carolina. Controversy. Goaltending controversy.
Controversy. All right. Rodney, I'm throwing you a bone here. At some point, we need to have a conversation about the St. Louis Cardinals. We could spend a lot more time on this, I'm sure, than what we have. We're about 3/4 of the way through the show, but Cardinals win again today, 7-0 against the Mets. They're 36-28. The Reds are going backwards. The Cubs are going backwards, but the Cardinals just keep finding a way to win. They're pulling ahead of a lot of their competitors in the NL Central. Are you at the point now where it's June 9th? Are you starting to say, hey, this might actually be a good baseball team?
Well, yeah. I mean, so 2.5 game lead in the National League wild card over all the rest of them. That's nice. And obviously, 2.5 does not mean a ton in June, but I will start by saying I was never a massive Oli Marmol fan or necessarily thought he deserved all of the blame for their struggles, but I'm proud of Oli Marmol, right? I am, because he kind of fought through this. Like he was obviously very had a lot of pressure on him the last couple of years of why isn't this guy, what's going on with this guy? Why aren't they winning? And I feel like he's doing a really nice job with this group. He's infusing some young talent in there. I feel like he's done a nice job with his bullpen, mixing and matching as he can. Young guys are playing hard for him. And he got invited to the All-Star game. And I think that's kind of cool for him. And this is a nice year to do it. Like, there's your prize for having a good first half of the season. He's on Dave Roberts' staff. So Cardinals are fine. They had Jordan Walker's, a top 5 MVP candidate, probably. JJ Weatherholt's probably a top 5 rookie of the year candidate. I don't think either one of them win it right now, but they're there. They're in the discussion of it. And then the starting pitching has actually been pretty decent, right? Like Dustin May was good today. Andre Palante's kind of a 6-inning guy, but like in Major League Baseball now, if you can get 6 innings in, sign them up, right? Like 6 innings is strong. It used to be, hey, can you go deep into games, 7, 8 innings? And, now it's 6. And then you got McGreevy, Liberatore, who just, maybe aren't overpowering, aren't flashy, but they're doing a pretty good job. So this is fun. It's a fun team. And, going out to New York and starting a big series in New York with a pretty bad Mets team. Nice to get ahead. They got ahead early, and Cardinals and here's a funny thing. One of the 2 conferences that I was going to for a lot of years. I didn't go last year. I'm not going this year. But this one used to be in New York until this year. So if that conference would have been in New York, it's right now, by the way.
Yeah.
They moved it to Fort Lauderdale this year, but it would have been Knicks, NBA Finals, Cardinals, Mets, a crossover in city. I probably would have had some fun.
That would have been a good Rodney week. And obviously you can afford tickets to the Garden for a Knicks NBA final game.
Oh, easily.
I'm just looking at the Cardinals schedule here. Like, and with baseball, it's you can't really do like too much schedule watching, but series against the Mets, road trip against the Twins. Like, so that's bad team. Home against the Padres, and Padres have been reeling. They're barely above 500 now. Then you are at Kansas City, bad team. Yeah. And then you got a week at home against Arizona, who's okay. Nolan Arenado return game. And then Miami. Like, that's a pretty manageable schedule up until July, when then you go Atlanta, Cubs, Brewers, Atlanta before the break. So, like, that's where they're going to get tested. But, like, the Cardinals really have an opportunity to head into July with a very good record if things break their way here.
Yeah, and so then that brings you to the point of, like, what do you do at the deadline? What kind of stuff do you do at the deadline? Do you just kind of stay in pat because you're still a year away or 2 years away, whatever? I do think if there was an opportunity to not salvage the future, you look at possibly getting a third baseman. I mean, Nolan Gorman's not getting it done. But like, I don't know, like what they're, what would be funny is if Arizona was like, hey, Nolan Arenado's available. right? Like he's available. You want it's
I
not gonna
I
happen.
don't know if we want to do that. If I'm the Cardinals, I think
No,
that ship has sailed. And then thanks for
no,
everything. By the way, the Carolina Hurricanes have scored. I'm assuming
yeah,
it was an empty netter.
yeah,
Nikolai
it was.
Ehlers with under a minute left. So yeah, we got 20 seconds ish left. It's a 2-goal game. So Rodney, your Carolina Hurricanes, our Carolina Hurricanes are going to even this series 2-2, heading back home for Game 5 on Thursday. Thank
Yeah,
God. Thank
yeah.
God.
And if we get a Spurs win tomorrow, we would have two really epic Game 5s coming up because obviously a swing game. But yeah, good win for Carolina. They needed that one on the road big time, and I think obviously Vegas cannot be feeling too good about flying cross country at 2-2. They should probably have a 3-1 lead in this series.
Yep. All right, real quick around the diamond before we get to some final thoughts for the show. Ever since I proclaimed that the Pittsburgh Pirates were going to the playoffs, they have lost every game. They are now 34-33. So that was just a good old-fashioned Tim curse there. So I apologize to the Pirates and all of their fans. Nationals are above 500. I think that's probably your biggest surprise in all of baseball. At least it is for me, that the Nationals are sitting at 34-33 right now. Maybe well, the White Sox exist. Maybe White Sox and Nationals are in a tie. That they have winning records right now this late in the season.
Yeah, I would think you're right there, and we can't have a show without belittling on the Northsiders. How about the Cubs going to Denver and giving up 7 early runs in that one tonight against the Rockies, down 7-3 to the bad Colorado Rockies. The Cubs are going to be one game over 500 at the end of the night tonight. That baffles me. It just baffles me.
A generational team in every sense. Weird games for them where like they win on a walk-off on Thursday, then they lose 18-3 on Friday, then they win on a walk-off on Saturday, and then they score 1 run and lose on Sunday, and now it looks like they're headed for a loss against Colorado. And but I'm sure like tomorrow they'll score 14 runs because it's just they're a very hot and cold team.
They have something like 10 walk-off wins or something. And at 34-32, like it's got to be a little concerning because it's like, okay, we can't continue this many walk-off wins. It's like the Alan Ashby record, like that can't last, right? Like he can't stay undefeated.
But yesterday, well, no, because the Brewers won yesterday, 15-14. Yeah. Ashby gave up a game-tying homer yesterday, I think, in the 10th. By the way, so part of this around the diamond is I wanted to mention, did you have any idea before last night that the A's were playing a series in Las Vegas?
No, not before last night. But yes, they're in Vegas tonight is what, last night, tonight. And I believe they started with a couple home runs. It's 3-2 in the third. They had a couple more early home runs. So maybe we're finding out that the ball will fly a little bit.
Well, I mean, if you saw some of the fly balls that turned into homers yesterday, it would raise some questions about what the conditions are going to be in Vegas. But already another high-scoring game so far between the Brewers and A's. A's 31-35. Come on, A's, pick it up. I believe in you.
I'm not sure why you picked them. They don't strike me as a
team. They got a great offense. That's a team that can hit. I just thought maybe they can get some pitching down the stretch, and hasn't happened yet so far. I mean they've given up 331 runs this year. Like Seattle's given up 257.
The crazy part about the AL West is the dog shit Astros are still only 5 games out. Not a good Astros team, only 5 games out and 2 out of the wild card. It's like somebody's got to kill them, right? Like they need to be put away, and nobody can put them away. Yeah,
the American League, there's 4 American League teams real quick that are Kansas City's 4.5 games out. Are they dead or are they alive?
I mean, they're probably dead. I always try to have hope in Kansas City, but they're probably dead.
Boston, dead or alive?
They haven't shown a lot of life this year, but they're probably dead.
Yeah. Detroit, dead or alive?
Dead.
I think dead. Angels, dead.
Dead.
So I would say there's two teams in the American League that I say firmly are dead.
Yeah.
Kansas City, Boston, or Minnesota. God, Minnesota's 30-37, and they're 2.5 games out of a playoff spot. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
disgusting.
Not great.
Do better, American League.
And then you move to the National League and you got all these teams over 500. You got 3 in one division, 4. You have 10. You have 10 teams over 500 in the National League.
Can we take a couple National League teams and put them in the American League just for this year, just to make it fair?
I would love the Cardinals. I would love the Cardinals to be in the National League, in the American League Central. I'm in.
Yeah. All right. I got a rant, but I'll save it for time's sake to Thursday. So let's do best bets for betting here. This is my favorite segment as of late because Rodney, as we can see, game 2, he had the Spurs bouncing back. They lost outright. He had the Cubs winning on Friday. They lost by 15 runs. He did have the Dallas Wings over soon-to-be Caitlin Clark's LA Sparks, if you believe the rumors.
Yeah.
The Brewers won against – he didn't even put an opponent. He just takes the Brewers blindly. And then the Hurricanes, despite their best efforts, they lost. So that's a 2-3 weekend for Rodney, putting him at 86-94. Ugh. I was not much better, but I was better. The Knicks won outright as a 5.5-point dog. The Phillies won by 2 runs against the White Sox. I did go against Rodney's Cardinals, and the Cardinals pounded the Reds at home. The Dodgers only won 1-0 against the Angels, so that's a loss for me. And then the Golden Knights, ever so slightly, held on for the money line for their Saturday Game 3 victory over the Hurricanes. So that's a 3-2 weekend for me, bringing me to 91-89. So a 5-game difference in the best bets for betting standings. And Rodney, with NBA Finals, with the Stanley Cup, with the World Cup all this weekend, with baseball, there are many opportunities for you to try to gain some ground here. And I might sneak in a World Cup bet just to challenge myself. It's getting too easy.
Yeah. 5 games back. I got a little hole, but football's on its way. So I still have faith in myself.
All right. Let's remember someone. And usually how this works is I pick someone who just pops in my mind, like whoever. And I've actually used his nickname before on this show recently. Rodney, remember Rafer Alston?
Very, very vaguely, very basic, barely. I do remember him, but like this is one of the better ones that you've got as far as like, boy, that's a blast from the past. As I'm looking him up, though, good timing. He's from Queens. This seems to be the week of New York. He's from Queens. He's going to be 50 years old in July. You can tell us more about him because you might know his career. Well, you didn't see his career, but you may have read up on his career.
I saw Rafer Alston's career. He was on a 2009 Orlando Magic team that made the NBA Finals. He was, he was in the NBA all in the 2000s. That's my wheelhouse, baby. That's the wheelhouse. And Rafer Alston is an amazing player to remember because he has to be the most successful street ball player of all time.
Yeah.
Because
he
played
guy.
Yeah, he played at a couple of community colleges and then a year at Fresno State. He was a 2nd-round pick in the NBA draft by the Bucks, but struggled early on and actually left or was not really doing too much in the NBA and was transitioning to street ball from the professional game. Became a street ball legend as the nickname Skip to My Lou. And that's the nickname that I was referencing a little bit earlier. Skip to My Lou before he joined the NBA with the Milwaukee Bucks, and then kind of bounced around a couple different places before he caught on with the Miami Heat. 2004, he was a starter with the Miami Heat. So him and D Wade in that backcourt, averaging 12 points, 4 assists on a young Miami team with D Wade that made it to the 2nd round of the playoffs. Had a game late in the year where he hit a game-winning shot in overtime over the outstretched arms of Sean Bradley. That is like a 15-inch height at 6'2", going up against 7'5". That's a 15-inch difference there for all you math nerds. But yeah, no, Rafer Alston, like I remember him from Houston. He
Yeah.
was he got a lot of minutes there playing under Jeff Van Gundy in Houston. Averaged like 13 points, 5 assists in one season for them. Orlando Magic, he was traded, replaced Jameer Nelson in the starting lineup, and was a part of that team that went to the NBA Finals and lost to the Lakers. So like, just an going from a street baller to a actual NBA starting guard. We're playing the NBA for about a decade or so. Smaller guy, but great handles and entertaining. So that's why I chose Rafer Alston.
I do see that he's got a little bit of legal troubles. Hopefully, the Rafer has figured it out over the last decade. But he finished his career with like 7,000 NBA points in his career. Yeah, just shy of that. Close to 2,000 career rebounds, 3,200 assists. He was a 39th overall pick in the 1998 draft. Can you tell me who the number one pick in the 1998 draft was?
1998. So this is a year before Duncan. It wasn't Michael Olowokandi, was he? That was probably earlier.
It was.
It was Michael Olowokandi, the Candyman. He was not very good.
Nope. And then it was Mike Bibby, Rafe LaFrance, Antoine Jameson, and Vince Carter rounded out the top 5 of that draft.
Give me some more names. Give me some more names from that draft.
Robert Traylor, big tractor trailer from Michigan. Jason White Chocolate Williams.
Yes, who is making waves because his daughter was on the Texas Tech softball team, and now he has a blood feud with Florida, his alma mater.
Larry Hughes grew up in St. Louis, played in St. Louis, and he was drafted 8th. Dirk Nowitzki, pretty good player out of Germany, was drafted 9th. The Truth, Paul Pierce, was drafted 10th. I'll keep going down a little bit. We got Bonzi.
That's a great draft. You've given me Dirk. You've given me Paul Pierce. You've given me Anton Jameson. That's a great draft, Rodney.
Yeah. Bonzi Wells from Ball State. Michael Doliak from Utah. Keon Clark from UNLV. Michael Dickerson from Arizona. Matt Harpring from Georgia Tech. And the last one I'm going to read, the 16th overall pick, is the face of March Madness, Bryce Drew from Valparaiso.
Bryce Drew
from Valparaiso.
I also see Ricky Davis, Tyronn Lue, Al Harrington, Nazar Muhammad, Rashard Lewis early in the second round.
Yeah.
Katino Mobley? Rashard Lewis, Katino Mobley in the second round. I mean, that's really good.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Miles Simon out of Arizona was a pretty good college player. But yeah, an interesting draft. Good at the top. As all drafts, it kind of dies down towards the end of the second round. But there's Rafer Alston back in the 1998 draft.
Awesome. Is what's his face? Debansta still projected to go first this year to Washington?
Yeah, I think Debansta is going to go first. Darren Peterson is probably going to be one of the next 2 picks, I would guess. You get Boozer in there. But yeah, I'm going to go on record. I say Debansta there. We're 3 weeks away from the NBA draft, right at the end of June. There we are. And then you can start getting your AJ Debansta Washington Wizards jerseys for sale.
Debansta, Anthony Davis, Trae Young. I don't know if they'll be good, but they'll be intriguing.
Corey Kispert.
I'm intrigued by them. Corey Kispert, yeah. Thank you for including Corey Kispert in there. That's a big omission on my part.
Yeah, he's part of the team. Yeah. Anyways, yes, that is that. And congrats to the Hurricanes, 2-2, as you said.
2-2. All right, let's get out of here. Reminder, a couple things. You can follow us at Stupid Sports Show on Twitter, not X. Despite the terrible record on the show, Rodney's actually doing much better on the Substack. It's free, and it's right in the QR code. There's a QR code on the screen. Scan it. It'll take you to our Substack, where Rodney is giving daily picks sent straight to your inbox. Winning record overall for the year. And you want to get picks for baseball, for WNBA, for World Cup. You gotta throw a couple World Cup picks in there for get the international people subscribing to the Substack.
I mean, I'll be there, Heckleberry.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. All right, and that about does it for the show. We'll be back Thursday, 9 p.m. Central. It'll be during a Stanley Cup game, right? It'll be during a Stanley Cup game.
Yeah.
So just like tonight, during baseball. So, and also World Cup. I think World Cup, the second game, I think will be on South Korea against I forget who they're playing. Czechia, maybe, I can't remember. But
oh yay!
Oh, exciting! Buckle your seatbelts, folks. The World Cup is here. All right, he's Rodney Newpel. I'm Tim, the Croatian sensation Van Stratton. Thanks to everyone who hung out with us tonight. We'll be back Thursday for another edition of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. See you guys.
See ya.
Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newpel and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah.